Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to your new favorite place on the internet. My name is Bella and listen up, okay? Listen, I think I'm being a little bit ambitious with my April TBR, but at the same time I feel like I'm not being ambitious enough. So I do want to talk to you guys about all of the books that I'm planning to read in the month of April. Sometimes I struggle to pick what books I'm going to be reading each month because one, I'm not really good at keeping up with all of the new books that are coming out, and two, I'm really much more of a mood reader than anything else. Like sometimes I'm into romance and then the next day I'm like, I want to read about murder mysteries. So it's kind of crazy up here. Like you never really know what's gonna happen the next day. I always like to keep myself guessing, apparently. I have so many incredible books that I want to talk to you guys about, and the very first one that I want to mention is in my hands thanks to today's sponsor, Book of the Month. Book of the Month has helped me discover new books, and it's also helped me step out of my comfort zone and try out books that I never thought I would, and for that I am so thankful to Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a fast-growing and super popular online book service that promotes new and emerging authors so that readers like you and me can discover new books that we are bound to love. Each month, their team reads through hundreds of new titles and picks some of the best new books for us to choose from. They also offer the best prices for new released hardcover fiction. You can get your very first hardcover book for only $5 using the code PASTEL. I also love that Book of the Month is risk-free. You can skip any month at any time and you will not be charged. This month I picked The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson and How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. Make sure that you head on over to bookofthemonth.com to get your very first book for only $5 using the code PASTEL. And you can also check out the other picks for the month of April. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video, and let's keep talking about the other books that I am hoping to read this month. I am going to be very gentle with myself. Like if I don't read all of these books, the world is not going to end. Like it'd be nice if I could finish all of these, but at the same time, I understand that there's a lot of books here, so it's okay if I don't finish them. Literally no pressure. This is just like an idea of the books that I could pick up this month, and it does have the added bonus that if I read all of these books, I can finally, oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying it. If I read all of these books, that means that I can finally break, or I can finally complete, finish, succeed, I can finally terminate my book buying ban. Because this time around, I decided that instead of doing a book buying ban for a certain amount of time, because I feel like if I only do it that way, once the time finishes, I'm just going to splurge on books. Like I'm just going to be on this vicious cycle of purchasing a bunch of books and then trying to go on a book buying ban to, you know, kind of balance out the amount of money that I spent. But then when I get out of my book buying ban, I just do it all over again. So I feel like doing a book buying ban with a goal in mind instead of just like a set time where you can't buy books is a lot more healthier, and it just kind of, it gives better results. So my goal for this book buying ban was to read the majority of the physical books on my TBR, and this is basically like a very good chunk of my physical TBR. So I feel like if I read all of these, you know, I'm gonna have more space for unread books, and that makes me really excited because I already have a list of the books that I want to get, and these books have been on my cart for months, because that's another thing that I've been doing where I add a book to my cart and then I have to leave it there for at least 2 weeks, and when I go back to it, if I still want it, then I'm definitely getting it. Because sometimes I hear about a book and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, let me add it to my cart, and then 2 weeks later I'm like, I don't remember this book, I don't really want it. So I'm kind of giving myself that trial to see if I really want that book. But anyways, I digress. Let's talk about the books. So obviously these are the very first 2 books on my April TBR. This was even in my most anticipated releases for this year. So I think I'm definitely going to be starting with this one because I just feel like I need to read a murder mystery, and I feel like this is what this is, I'm pretty sure. 18-year-old Belle has lived her whole life in the shadow of her mom's mysterious disappearance. 16 years ago, Rachel Price vanished, and young Belle was the only witness, but she has no memory of it. Rachel is gone, long presumed dead, and Belle wishes everyone would just move on. But the case is dragged up from the past when the Price family agrees to a true crime documentary. A mind-blowing masterpiece about one girl's search for the truth and the terror in finding out who your family really is. That literally sounds perfect for the type of mood that I'm in. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this. Shut up. Okay, so that was The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and then How to End a Love Story. Oh my goodness. Helen Zhang hasn't seen Grand Shepherd once in the 13 years since the tragic accident that bound their lives together forever. Now a best-selling author, Helen pours everything into her career. When secrets come to light, they must reckon with the fact that theirs was never meant to be any kind of love story. And yet, the key to making peace with their past and themselves might just lie in holding on to each other in the present. Okay, so we have a little bit of trauma, we have a little bit of romance, we have a little bit of star-crossed lovers maybe. This is giving everything that I need in my life right now, so I am very excited for these two. I guess I should start with the books that I am already in the middle of, because I actually started both of these in March and I haven't gotten around to finishing them just because life in general, and I didn't want to rush these books. The very first one, as you already saw by the bright cover, is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I've read quite a lot. I could probably finish this in one sitting if I really put my mind to it, but I don't want to rush it. I'm currently on page 248, and this has a total of 385 pages. You know what, I'm gonna I'm gonna leave my thoughts for until after I finish them, but I've actually read this once. I read it as an ebook last year, and it wasn't a good experience. And then at the beginning of March, I took a trip to the US and I went to Barnes & Noble, as you do. And when I saw this at the bookstore, I was like, you know what if I give it a second chance? Like, what's the worst that could happen? Because obviously I love Emily Henry. I love beach read, people we meet on vacation, and book lovers, and the fact that Happy Place was such a miss for me, it just never felt right. So I started questioning, like, maybe I was the problem when I first picked up this book, and if I try it again, maybe I'll actually like it and enjoy it and not think it's overhyped. So that's the mindset that I went into this book this second time around. No expectations, just open to any possibility, and this is how it's looking, you know? There's been a lot of annotating, honestly a lot more annotating than I thought there would be. There's been a lot of moments that I can relate to, and a lot of moments that have me like, where are the hidden cameras? Because it feels like she's writing about my life, literally. So this is a book that I'm definitely going to be finishing in April. And the other book that I've started and I still haven't finished, I am this way through, page 293 out of 602. So I'm almost halfway through East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This is another book that I started earlier in March, and I have read quite a lot, as you can see by the tabs, and I am really enjoying it. Again, this is another book that I didn't think I would annotate as much as I am, but I mean, John Steinbeck has a way with words. Like, he can manipulate the English language in such a beautiful way that makes you rethink everything that you've ever thought in your life, but like in the best way possible. I don't know how to explain it, but I am really enjoying East of Eden. I think I'm enjoying it a lot more than Grapes of Wrath, which was my very first Steinbeck novel. I'm just really excited because this is a very well-loved book on my Discord, and so many of my Patreons love this book, and I want to know what it's all about. I just want to get it, okay? I'm slowly getting it, but I want to fully get it. East of Eden. Wait, should I tell you what these books are about? I'm not really good at doing that though. Like, okay, okay, I'll try my best, but like, don't hold it against me. Happy Place, Emily Henry. We have a group of friends. It's the chosen family trope for sure. And our main character, Harriet, she is going out with this man who is called Win. She's actually engaged to Win, which they're all part of the same friend group, but they actually broke off their engagement and they haven't told their friends. And then their friends plan this beach trip and they decide to keep it to themselves so that they don't ruin the vibes of the trip. So they're just pretending that they're still dating, and it's very awkward, it's very painful because they have to like pretend that they that everything is okay when obviously everything is not okay, and you start to see like these little cracks in the foundation of the friendship, but like nobody's talking about it because everybody's scared that this thing that they have is now so delicate that they can't have real conversations about it, so they're all pretending that everything's fine and that they are not growing apart and that everything's just the way that it used to be. This novel is a lot less focused on the romance than it is on growing up and the realities of having friends as an adult and how hard it is to keep these friendships alive when the demands of real life just keep you apart. I think that was like my #1 mistake when I first read this book, that I thought this was just going to be a super romantic novel. I was ready to have another beach read. I was ready to have another people we meet on vacation. And then when I didn't get that, I think it was so shocking and so confusing to me and to my set of expectations that I was just like, this is not what I wanted. And maybe that's why I didn't like it. But anyways, I digress. Group of friends, fake dating, one bed trope. Love the one bed trope. That's Happy Place. And then East of Eden, oh my goodness, this is like the novel because it's, I don't know how to, it's a masterpiece, a vastly ambitious novel that is at once a family saga and a modern retelling of the book of Genesis. So yes, it's exactly that. Took the words right out of my mouth. We're following these two families as they're making their way through life and as they're making their mistakes and as they're falling in love or doing other stuff. There's just like a lot of things going on, and there's also like this parallel to, as is mentioned in the synopsis, the book of Genesis, which is the story of Adam and Eve and also Cain and Abel. Abel, yes. So Cain and yes. It's a lot more interesting than I'm making it out to be, I promise. It's like a really good story in my opinion. Anyways, the next book on my April TBR is the only actually it's not the only manga, but this is the only physical manga that I own, and that is Vinland Saga, the deluxe edition. This has the first 3 volumes of this series. As you can see, it's just this huge collection, and it's all been beautifully bound in this deluxe edition. In Vinland Saga, we are following our main character that's called Thorfinn as he journeys. Is this correct? That's what I remember from season 1. I remember it being very, like, there was a lot of action and there was a lot of violence, but then also there's a lot of focus on the character development and the character emotional intelligence, you could say. I'm really excited to read the manga because I remember really enjoying the anime. I saw it so long ago, I can't really remember it, but I have a feeling I'm correct. It's like Viking inspired, and our main character, as a child, he goes through something quite traumatizing. I think he loses his dad, which is not a spoiler because I'm pretty sure it happens in the first episode. And that event sort of triggers this violent, toxic behavior in him, but as he grows older and as he experiences more of life, he starts to change. Apart from what I've seen and what I've thought personally of the anime, I've also heard people say that the story gets better the more that you read it and the more that you watch, so I'm excited to start my journey of Vinland Saga. I know that a lot of people on my channel are fans of Vinland Saga because when I first unboxed this on my previous vlog, there were so many comments that were like, oh my god, Vinland Saga was my first manga, or it was my first anime, and I love it so much. I'm excited for you to read it. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this baby. I hope I love it as much as you guys think I will, and as much as I think I will as well. So yeah, Vinland Saga, it's happening in April. I don't know how long this is going to take me because Berserk, like the deluxe edition, it took me, I think, 2 days, or was it 1 day? I don't know. I was like really focused on reading it, so once I picked it up, I just didn't put it back down until there were no more pages. So maybe the same thing is going to happen with Vinland Saga, but if it doesn't, I'm okay with this because it does have a bookmark, so I can just mark my page. Oof. That's such a nice color. I do have another classic that I want to read this month, and this one is actually a buddy read, which I'm really relieved about because I keep saying that I'm going to read this book, and then each month passes and it remains unread. So I feel like with the help and the support and the pressure of a buddy reader, I can finally read The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. This, I don't know why I've put it off for so long. Like, it's not even that long, really. It only has 489 pages. But then the thing is, the text is so little. Like, that is disgusting. Let me show you. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see the difference, but I just feel like this is a lot easier to read than this, because this just feels like a bit more condensed and a bit smaller. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks different. I don't like how it looks, but I'm hoping that that doesn't ruin my reading experience. As you can see, I do have, focus on this, baby girl. I do have a couple of reading daily goals at the top. We did say, like my buddy reader and I, we did say that we were going to read 40 pages every day, and like 40-ish pages, because if we reach page 40 and we're in the middle of a chapter, we're obviously going to read until the end of that chapter. And that's kind of what we've got going on right here. This is the second day of our buddy read, and I have yet to start it. So we're not off to a great start, but we will read this book, because I cannot let people down. That's like my #1 thing. I can't let people down. So this will be read in the month of April. I will be giving you guys my thoughts, so stay tuned, because this is the only Bronte sister that I haven't read a book from. I've only liked one of the Bronte books that I've read, because I've read Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights. Guess which one I liked. And this would be my third Bronte novel. So I really hope I like it, because I need to see what Anne Bronte is made of. And I have heard really good things about The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. Then I have another book that I've also been saying I'm going to read over and over again, and then I never read it. Can you see a kind of trend going on? Do you understand why I put these books as my goal to finish my book buying ban? Because it feels like if I finally get these books off of my physical TBR, I deserve new books. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't feel guilty about getting new books, because I've finally finished the books on my physical TBR that have been here for way longer than they should have been. So anyways, the other book that I am definitely going to be reading this month is the Iliac Crest, written by Cristina Rivera Garza. I'm gonna be very upfront about this. I know that this was originally written in Spanish. I didn't know that before I bought this edition, and now I have the English version, even though I could very easily read the Spanish one. I'm not gonna buy the Spanish edition of a book that I already own, because I don't even know if I'm going to like this. And the only reason that I bought this book is because Emmy from Emmy Reads really adores this book, and a part of me, like every part of me, wants to read the same edition that she did, because that way I can read the same words that she did, and maybe even underline the same things that she underlined, because obviously when you translate something, a little bit of it is lost. So I feel like if I read the Spanish version, I'm not really going to be reading the same book. I don't know if I'm making sense. It makes sense in my head, which is the only place that it has to make sense in. So I'm okay with this decision. I know that it's not that big of a deal, but I just feel like I have to explain it, because I know that someone will be like, but just read the original. But my short answer is no. No thanks. Thank you so much though. A suspenseful psychological horror story in the vein of a David Lynch film or Ingmar Bergman's Persona, as a dissolver of the space between genders and as a challenge to the cultural erasure of the real-life Davila. The result is mind-bending. And it's also not that long, obviously. As you can see, this has 131 pages. Girly pop. No, not even. That's an afterword. This is 127 pages, so I literally have zero excuses whatsoever to not have read this book. So if you see April coming to an end and I still haven't marked this as complete, please come for me, because I obviously need help. The last book, actually not the last book, there is one more book that I want to talk about, but I don't own it physically. But before I get to that one, the last physical book that I want to read in the month of April is Frankenstein in Baghdad, written by Ahmed Sadoui. Again, another book that I've just been saying I'm going to read, and it's on my 24 books to read in 2024, so this has to happen. And what better time to make it happen than in April? Gripping, darkly humorous, a profound exploration of the terrible logic of violence and vengeance. It does have like similarities to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which, if you don't know, is one of my all-time favorite classics. It's actually one of the very first classics that I ever read. So yeah, it means a lot to me, and the fact that this is going to like, I don't even know how many similarities or if it's going to be similar at all, but I'm assuming because of the title and because of the cover, it's going to have a couple of parallels, and I'm very excited to spot them. So Frankenstein in Baghdad, going to be reading in April. I'm twice as motivated because one, I really want to buy new books. Like, I really want to complete or finish my book buying ban. And second of all, I'm just really excited to finally get to a book that I've been excited to read for so long. So it has to happen. It just has to happen.
Also, just a side note, quick side quest. I forgot to mention that I'm also going to be reading A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. This is the book that my Patreons chose as our monthly book club. So if you're interested on reading it with me and getting access to an exclusive vlog dedicated to this book, make sure that you head on over to my Patreon. It's all going to be there. It's always such a fun time. And I feel like this book just sounds really interesting as well. Like, we have vampires, I think we have a heist, and we also have tea. And I have read books by Hafsa Faisal before, and I absolutely adore them. Like, she just has such a way with words, and I am so excited to read another one of her books. So if you're interested, the link is down below. I'm very excited for this one. Plus, the cover is gorgeous, so yes. Anyways, back to the video.
The last update, not update, but like the last, it's not even a book because it's not even published at this point. But the thing is, okay, just listen, don't leave. But One Piece, listen, One Piece, okay, listen. One Piece is coming out at a pace where it is not like, okay, how do I explain this? I have already caught up to the omnibus volumes. Like, there are no more omnibus editions that I can buy. The newest edition is coming out December 2024, and it has volumes 100, 101, and 102. I've already read them. So at this point, I'm just going to be buying them to collect them, not to actually read them, which is just mind-blowing to me. And then since I completed the omnibus editions, like since I completed reading them, I switched to the single volume ones. And so far, I think there's 108 volumes out. I've read all of those. I read all of those. I read them in like a span of 2 days. I literally, quite frankly, went insane. Like, I don't own them physically. I've been reading them all digitally, and I've reached a point in the manga where I've read past what is published. I am in chapter 1105. And I think there's like a total of 1111 chapters of One Piece currently. Like, I don't even get me started because I don't understand how this happened. It's literally insane because look, I had this little post-it on my desk where I have this post-it where I like break down each individual volume, and I talk about, like, I write down what chapters it includes so that when I'm reading them online and I reach that chapter, I'm like, okay, I can mark it as complete on my reading trackers. And this was supposed to last me the entire week, but then I read all of these volumes in one single day, and it's like, how did I even do that? It's like I blacked out, you know what I mean? It honestly doesn't feel real. I don't know how I got here. Like, I'm loving this story. It's literally insane. But I'm so sad that I caught up because, like, Oda, he's obviously, you know, taking breaks and stuff, and now I have to wait with the rest of the world for new updates on One Piece, and that's crazy. All of this to say that One Piece is another thing that I'm going to be reading in the month of April. Obviously I can't read them physically because they're not out physically. I'm reading them online, but that is another thing that's going to be taking up a lot of my time. I'm willingly giving up that time to spend it with One Piece because it's literally my bread and butter, literally one of the top things that is bringing me happiness at the moment, both the anime and the manga and anything else that is related to One Piece. So yeah, I just had to mention it because it's honestly, it's just insane to me. Like, just thinking of I can't wrap my head around it. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me. But anyways, those are all of the books that I'm going to be reading in the month of April. Please let me know down below what books you guys are going to be reading. If you have any books that you think I should read, like if you have any book recommendations, especially for murder mystery and romance, like those are the two genres that I'm like really into right now. So if you have any recommendations for that, please leave them in the comments below. I would love you forever and I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It really helps my channel out. I also have a Patreon where I post exclusive content. I host readathons, reading sprints, and a monthly book club. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, I'd love to have you join my army of premium simpers. Yeah, once again, if you're still here, thank you so much for staying until the end. I hope you're having a fantastic time, and I hope the month of April is even better than the month of March, because you and I both deserve it. We deserve the entire world, all of the good things in the world, not the bad things, just the good. So I love you guys very, very much, and I will definitely be seeing you next week. Bye.
Hey Jimmy, you nice, keep going.